I got this Auto-Vox dash cam from Amazon. It's model D6 Pro, which is a Wi-Fi enabled model. This is what it looks like. So the box came in. So we're going to install that today and see how we do. This is the sticker that mounts on your windshield, and basically it faces forward like that. I am too cheap to get the hardwire mount kit, so what you'll see me doing first is mucking around and splicing in or soldering in some wires to the cigarette, the DC adapter, so that I can then just hardwire this in the vehicle. And what I'm going to try and do is hardwire it into the back of the center console, just because having taken that center console out a few times, I think it's just easiest for me to access the DC plug at the rear of the center console and then hardwire it in at that point. Step one involves taking this apart without destroying it. All right, as much as I tried, I could not slide out the electronics from that housing, which has no seam all the way around. So what you'll see me doing next is taking the Dremel to it and taking part of that cigarette lighter completely apart. Trying to play it safe here, not damage any of the circuitry. All right, don't be too intimidated by this work. As I said, I'm really doing this because I'm too cheap to buy the optional hardwiring kit, which you can easily do, and then you can skip all of this work. Okay, well that's all I need access to, so let me just put this sideways. I should also mention the more obvious. I was not going to be happy just plugging the dash cam into the cigarette lighter and losing my 12-volt port for any other accessory I wanted to plug in, which is why, part of the reason why I wanted to hardwire it. That and it just looks cleaner as an install. There we go. So what we're gonna do is solder a positive wire onto this solder point here, and the negative, the ground, onto this solder point here. And then I'll put this back together, tape it up, run some wires from it, and I'm ready to hardwire. I'm going to make sure I give myself a good length. Right. Give yourself at least 6 feet if you're doing this job in the same vehicle as me and you intend on routing the wire directly to the rear of the center console. So as a result, you'll notice that the red wire shown here mysteriously gets replaced with a yellow wire at some point in the video, and that's just because I extended it and didn't have enough red wire to make the run. place. Solid. That's all you need. Now, this will be tricky, but not possible. The other point is right there. And for all my shaking, I'd be fine. There we go. Let's just tape this up. I can put the cap back on. I'm not going to use the USB connector, so it doesn't really matter if that's stuck or not. At least I've got that there, so now all I got to do is wrap this up carefully. And we're ready. Now the reason why you can't just go right from this cable to a 12 volt source is because the input for the dash cam is actually 5 volt, so this transforms from 12 volt to 5 volt. I'm in the back seat of the Volvo. There we go. There we go. You can totally ignore the mess of wires that are shown here. That is as a result of me trying and eventually successfully connecting a Bluetooth dongle for the vehicle so that I didn't have to plug in an auxiliary cable when I wanted to play music. So when you pop off the panels on your vehicle, there will be nothing like this in place. And the wires are not the ones you're going to access for 12 volt anyway, so just ignore that altogether in this video. It's just a bunch of wires in the way. The two wires that you want to connect to, these two here. Black and purple and gray. So I'm going to assume the black is ground, the purple and gray is power, but I'll check that momentarily. So all I'm doing next is starting. This is where I'm going to plug this in, and then all you got to do is lift the headliner a little bit, and it fits in quite. Just have to lift a little bit, and it fits in nicely without any issue. And here, what you want to be able to do, what you want to do is pull this out. To pull it out all together, so you can get rooted in there. Down here, you just have to pull the rubber back, tuck it in there like that, all the way down. Once you get to the back, let's keep tucking it in. Get the fingers in there. There we go. Okay, now what I'd prefer to do is go in here. This point down. Just pull it through for now. No, actually, no, it's not really going. Oh yeah, it is working. And then tuck all of the wiring in back here, including up to and including the cigarette lighter. So that'll get tucked in there. Roll this right up, tape it nicely, and get it out of the way that way. Look it up there. Lots of space up there. Along with this, face that. Have that face the other way. Tuck this up here, and then start rooting this properly here. Get up there. There we go. Okay, root this through like this. So you can see what I'm doing. Same thing.
bad. I almost got there. Now, I think there might be a way to push this up through right here. Let's try that. Yellowing through. Just gonna tie the red to the yellow and pull it through. Save myself a few minutes here. Okay. Okay, I should be able to pull that through. There we go. There we go. What I'm going to do is connect red to purple here using a butt connector. It's impossible to get footage here. If I do this, maybe. So, red to here to here. Okay. Snap that shut. Okay, and the other one, yellow. Lock that down. Side. I've got a butt connector on too. I didn't get footage of me putting all of the wires and the plastic panels back in place, but it did all fit, and without all the wiring that I have here, you should have no problem putting everything back together and tucking the wires in nicely in behind the secondary plastic panel. And up to the camera. So we should be able to test now. Got the cable, got this thing running. Cable's in. Let's see if this will work. You obviously have to start the car. Don't know if there's a light or what. I'm getting a chime, and I see a flashing light. It's not too bad. I'm not sure I totally like this model, actually. The main reason is you can only install it with the cable coming out of the right-hand side. And that means, first of all, it's difficult to install it on the driver's side because it really does obstruct your view. And then if you want to install it, in my vehicle anyway, on the right-hand side, you've got this great big console here that gets in the way of the footage. And so that means you got to shift it over further to the right. And so then it becomes a matter of lowering it just enough so that you're out of the range of the shaded part of the windscreen, which means it's kind of does stick out a little bit. So that's my beef with it. You know what, I like the idea that it connects through Wi-Fi, but I've got a different camera in my other vehicle, and I think I might like this one better, actually. So this one connects straight down. It doesn't have fancy Wi-Fi connectivity. It just has a memory card and a good old-fashioned display menu, but it's a little bit more concealed. It tucks in nicer than the other one. This one is more expensive only because it came with a rear-facing camera, but I'm not sure the rear-facing camera is worth it, which is why I went with the other model. Anyway, I got it installed. It's working fine. One neat little feature about it is if you hover your finger underneath it, it takes a snapshot automatically, which then downloads onto the app, which you can access on your phone. That's kind of cool. Okay, it's now been a couple of weeks where I've had an opportunity to test this device out. Not to the point where I've had to record an accident or anything, but I have been able to use the app, snap some pictures, view them on the application, watch some of the footage live on the application, and honestly, the app works just fine on my iPhone. I'm not sure why it got the lower reviews on the App Store. So, and now that I'm used to the app, I am actually, I feel pretty good about not having to deal with a screen on the camera itself, because reaching up there is a little bit awkward. So being able to work with it on your phone is actually very convenient. I hope that the information I've included in this video is helpful to someone out there. Let me know. Thank you. Here's what you see when you boot up the app initially. There's, and this is the view out the front window, which is a live view as I'm driving. And you'll notice bottom right, you can maximize the view so that it takes up the whole iPhone screen if you'd prefer. This is a view of the videos that have been taken that you can get access to. Now we're back to the live view. And if you select options or settings from the menu, these are all the different settings that you'll see. It's pretty straightforward. I would say no frills, but really the options that you need are there. There aren't many languages to choose from at this point. You can also set the units for speed. In this case, I'm going to switch mine to kilometers per hour. I didn't realize it was on miles. I'm just scrolling through here to give you a sense of what else is on the menu, in case it's of interest. One thing that is a little bit annoying is to connect to the device, you actually have to turn your cellular data off, and which is the glitch, and then you have to pick the Wi-Fi network that corresponds to the device itself. That's not a big deal, but having to disconnect cellular data is a little bit of a nuisance. Not like I need to connect to this all that often, so it's not a big deal. It's just an annoyance. All right, we're back to the camera view, and in a second I'm going to switch it to landscape, i.e. full screen view on the iPhone. I'm not sure why you'd need this, but it's, the image does take up the entire screen, and if that's of use, great. There you go. And I think that's pretty much it.